Call the City Council meeting to order. Wednesday, October the 4th, 2006, right at 7:05 p.m. The invocation this evening, Father James McCranor from the Sacred Heart Catholic Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to Police Explorers and Councilwoman Garner. Would you all please stand?
God of wisdom and love, guide us as you guide all creation, according to your law of love. Give strength and sound judgment to the members of this council, so that the American dream is available to all who are willing to sacrifice, and that people of Homestead may enjoy religious freedom, security, and peace. Tonight, too, we take a moment to remember the little ones of Nickel Mines, Pennsylvania, and the little ones everywhere throughout the world. Lord, help us to work together so as to build a world where the little ones especially may enjoy a bright and hope-filled tomorrows. We ask you to receive them into the arms of your mercy and be with their families in this great time of pain and sorrow. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. You may be seated. Thank you, Father, for coming out this evening. Thank you, Councilwoman Garner. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Warren?
Here.
Vice Mayor Losner?
Here.
Councilwoman Bell?
Here.
Councilwoman Garner?
Here.
Councilman Hodge?
Here.
Councilman Porter?
Here.
Councilwoman Waldman?
Let me put on the record that Councilwoman Waldman had a prior speaking engagement. I think this is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And she is at a speaking engagement. She also wanted me to share with the community that she is totally cancer-free and is doing very well. So congratulations to Councilman Waldman, and we wish you well, and congratulations. Additions, deletions, or deferrals?
Yes, Mayor, we have one deferral, and that's tab 8. And tab 8.
Just going to be deferred. It's the item on the firefighters' retirement programs because it hasn't yet been approved by the county. It will appear on a subsequent agenda.
Thank you, sir. Item 5A is the presentation to the Farm Family of the Year. Helen Borick, Councilwoman Garner.
Thank you, Mayor. It's always an honor for me to come up here and recognize those in our agricultural industry. And if I can have Ms. Borick and her family to come on up here. Ms. Borick is the matriarch of the Borick family, and she was recently honored by the Farm Bureau as Farm Family of the Year. where she received an award, but the city would also like to give her something. So we have a proclamation in the form of a plaque here for her. It's kind of long, so I'll go ahead and start reading it while the whole family comes up here. Whereas Helen Bork and her husband Joe Bork moved from Maine to Homestead in the 1940s to start a farm and were blessed with 6 sons, and whereas Helen Bork and her husband instilled excellent values and a tireless work ethic in their sons and grandsons, come on up here, who continue the family legacy of working in agriculture, and whereas Helen Bork actively participated in the establishment and continuation of Dade County agriculture through their hard work and perseverance, and whereas Helen Bork, matriarch of Homestead's Bork farming dynasty, was chosen as this year's Farm Family of the Year Award recipient for leadership of a family dedicated to agriculture. Now, on behalf of the Mayor and Council, I'm pleased to proclaim Wednesday, October 4th as Helen Bork Day in Homestead. No? We're going to have a picture so we can... No? Nobody wants to say anything, but they're all very proud.
Good evening.
Amanda, probably in the front, but we better. No.
Very stressful.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Next is the administration of the oath of office of the Mayor's Youth Council. Vanessa Vanquer, Maria Rangel, Arthur Jones, Esther Maturin, Shameen Maturin, Yadira Magria, and Amanda Powell. Would you all come forward?
You want to go across the front, Mayor?
Yeah. Would you raise your right hand? I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the state of Florida, and will obey the laws of the United States and of the state. That I will, in all respects, observe the provisions of the Mayor's Youth Council, ordinances, and the Mayor's Youth Council Honor Code of the City of Homestead, and will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Mayor and Vice Mayor and Council. So help me God. Congratulations.
Yeah.
All right, we on, let me say that Vanessa, would you stand, Vanessa? Vanessa is the mayor, the new elected mayor of the Mayor's Youth Council. And Maria Rangel is the vice mayor. Item 5C is the proclamation recognizing Public Power Week. Councilman Hodge.
Thank you, Mayor. My grandfather used to tell me a lot that you don't miss your water till your well run dry. Well, I'll go as far as say you don't miss your power until you flip the switch and nothing comes on. So with that said, we have Greg Paulson, our utility director.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Hodge, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, and also thank you to the employees of Homestead Energy Services, and particularly thank you to the citizens and customers of Homestead Energy Services. Thank you for recognizing and celebrating American Public Power Week. Just a little bit of a few facts about American Public Power. About 100 years ago, when the electric industry was in its infancy, big industry were building power plants to supply power to their companies, in particular large manufacturing steel plants and such, and they weren't interested in providing power to the citizens and to the cities within their areas. So cities took it upon themselves to develop their own electric companies. As that developed, they continued to provide reliable and low-cost power to the citizens of their communities. And in 1940, the American Public Power Association was developed to help lobby for continued legislation to support American public power. A few more statistics, and the council, Mr. Mayor, I've provided a handout for you to give you some statistics on public power and to try to get that message out that public power is hometown power. The power companies are owned and operated by the citizens of the community. Presently, there's about 43 million citizens that are served by public power in the nation. There's approximately 2,000 public power municipals owned by municipals in the country. Of those 2,000, about 1,400 of those companies are less than 10,000 customers. So basically, it's hometown power. Consistently, public power has provided cheaper and more reliable electric to their customers. And again, I'd just like to thank everybody and get the message out that hometown power is, or public power is hometown power. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Not going to read the whole thing, but I'm always taking it. We really want everyone in the community to come out and help us celebrate. It's a good opportunity to really understand our public power and how our utility facility works. It's an amazing thing to understand how diesel fuel is and gas is changed into our electric and be able to send power to our businesses and our homes. And you know, it's one of those things that is really taken for granted until it's not there. And we really understand the power of having power during hurricane seasons when it's out for weeks at a time. So it's really something to honor and respect and take in the light and appreciate that we do have not only the ability to have access to power, but the ability that this community has the ability to produce its own power and have access to its own utility plant. So it's really something to appreciate in this community. And with that said, we're going to offer you, Mr. Paulson, a proclamation, and I'll go directly to the end, that be it further resolved that the week of October the 1st to 7th be designated the 20th Annual Public Power Week in Homestead in order to honor Homestead Energy Service for its contributions to the community and to make its customers, policymakers, and employees more aware of its contributions to their well-being and how it makes their lives powerful. And be it further resolved that our community join hands with more than 2,000 other public power systems in the United States in this celebration of the public power and recognition that Homestead's energy services is good for the consumers, businesses, and community and the nation I'm not the mayor, but assigned Mayor Roscoe Warren.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman Hodge. Item 5D is the presentation of safety award winners. Vice Mayor Losner.
Thank you, Mayor Warren. Tonight, as part of the ongoing City of Homestead Safety Award program that we have, we're going to recognize two of our employees, one for the Safety Award winner of the month of July and one for the month of September. To qualify for the Safety Award, City of Homestead employee must be a full-time employee, free of accidents and injuries for the preceding 6 consecutive months, and cannot have received workers' compensation benefits for the prior 6 months. Among the recognition that is provided in the packages that we will present tonight to each of the employees is a certificate of recognition as a Safety Award winner for the particular month, a paid day off, a safety badge with their names posted for recognition on the lobby bulletin board at City Hall, and a $25 check from our firm of city attorneys. And this month we want to recognize, for the month of July, Joe Skelton, who's with the Public Works and Services Department and Fleet Management. I understand Joe's here. Hey, Joe, come on up. Thank you, Joe. On behalf of the Mayor and Council and Councilwoman Waldman in her absence, this is her baby, one of her many babies here. I want to congratulate you and recognize you as the award winner for the month of July.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And a stranger to no one here for the month of September, Jose Landrian with the Electric Utilities Engineering Department. Thank you, Jose. Congratulations. I want to say, I remember when I was first elected, when we get the initial tour and the rundown of the various departments, Jose gave me my tour probably a day and a half after I was first elected, and it was quite memorable, and he gave me the full skinny on where we were at that time, and I always appreciate that. Okay. Thanks again. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Next on the agenda is item 5E, which is a certificate of membership to Mayor's Youth Council, Councilwoman Garner and Councilman Hodge.
Thank you, Mayor. We actually have 3 new members, but 2 of them couldn't make it tonight. So we're going to go ahead and introduce Marie Mathurin. Marie, can you come up? Marie is a 9th grader at Homestead Senior High. And since she's a 9th grader, I hope to have her for 4 years. She wants to serve on the Mayor's Youth Council because she thinks she can make a difference and would like to be given that opportunity. And she says we have many problems, and she wants to be able to be there and say, I can help. So we're going to put her to work.
Next, we have Main Street update, Yvonne Knowles.
Good evening, Mayor Warren, council members, Mr. Ivy. As part of the promotional agenda for Homestead Main Street, we have 2 events to speak on this evening. The big Main Street event for October, am I getting feedback? For October is our celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month. Homestead Main Street is hosting a concert on Saturday evening, October 14th, at the Sanctuary at 240 North Chrome Avenue. The concert is under the direction of a famous 9-piece Latin orchestra called L'Azur, under the direction of Diego Carval. Along with the music and dancing, there will be great food from the Americas of the Tribe. A donation, a $5 donation at the door, will benefit the Centro Campesino in South Florida. This concert is funded by the Miami-Dade Department of Cultural Affairs. On Saturday, November the 11th, our big Veterans Day kickoff of the NASCAR races called Speed Fest occurs out at the sports complex. This big event is the Championship NASCAR Race Week activities kickoff, and tickets to this all-day concert featuring headliner acts Trick Pony, Confederate Railroad, Jason Thomas, and the Miami-Dade County Firefighters Band will be going on from 2 until 10 o'clock in the evening. In addition to music, there will also be the Homestead Hospital will have a bear and doll clinic for children as part of their health exhibit. Homestead Speedway will have an interactive display of NASCAR-related activities. Schnebley Winery will have a booth. Food will be provided by Wilma's Place for barbecue, Maya's Cafe for Creole cuisine, and Golden Rule for delicious seafood. Cali Bay, the largest boat dealer for Brady White, Boston Whaler, and Pursuit will have a display at the festivities. Speed Demons, local arts and crafts artists. There'll be a lot to do for the whole family, so we really encourage you to get your tickets either online or through the Ticketmaster phone number. Finally, this is all available on our website, by the way, at www.homesteadmainstreet.org. Finally, our two newest businesses in downtown historic district is a very interesting store. I really recommend you coming down and seeing this. It's Marvel Comics at 137 North Chrome, owned by George Cruz. He's featuring vintage and new comic books, and he's got it really nicely set up, so please come down and see it. And at the Antique Mall, we have a new shop. That's at 115 North Chrome. You can find the 75 Rabbit Boutique, and owned by Stephanie Leonard, and featuring handmade clothing and accessories for women and children. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is the approval of the consent agenda. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Moved by Councilwoman Bellis, second by Councilman Hodge. Any comments on the consent agenda? If not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Public hearing, ordinances, land use items, etc.
Please be advised that the following items on the agenda are quasi-judicial in nature. If you wish to comment on any of these items, please indicate the item number you would like to address when the announcement regarding the quasi-judicial item is made. An opportunity for persons to speak on each item will be made available after the applicant and staff have made their presentations on each item. Swearing in, all testimony, including public testimony and evidence, will be made under oath or affirmation. Additionally, each person who gives testimony may be subject to cross-examination. If you do not wish either to be cross-examined or sworn, your testimony will be given its due weight. The general public will not be permitted to cross-examine witnesses, but the public may request the counsel to ask questions of staff or witnesses on their behalf. The full agenda package on each item is hereby entered into the record. Persons representing organizations must present evidence of their authority to speak for the organization. Further details of the quasi-judicial procedures may be obtained from the clerk. In accordance with Section 2-591, any lobbyist must register before addressing the council on any of the following items. At this time, council members, please disclose any ex parte communications concerning any items on the agenda. At this time, the clerk will swear in any persons who wish to testify on any quasi-judicial item.
Please stand and raise your right hand. I state your name. Hereby swear or affirm that the information I present shall be the truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God. Thank you.
Item 7A is a second reading of the ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting the request of Adrian E. Skinner for rezoning from one-family residential R1 district to professional business restricted B1 district for property located at 43 Northeast 15th Street, consisting of folio numbers 10-7907-021-0670, 10-790-0 10-21-0680 and 10-7907-021-0690 as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date. This is second reading.
I'll move it, Mayor.
Moved by Councilwoman Bell, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Mayor Losner. Any initial comments from council? If not, I'll open a public hearing. Any comments from the audience? Any comments from the audience? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Any final comments from council? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Hodge?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Losner?
Yes.
Councilman Porter?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Garner?
Yes.
Mayor Warren?
Yes.
Motion carries.
7B is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting preliminary plat and site plan approval for Homestead Pavilion, a commercial retail center consisting of 399,600 square feet on approximately 36.97 acres of land located north of Southwest 312th Street, Campbell Drive, east of Southwest 157th Avenue, west of the Homestead extension of the Florida Turnpike, and south of Southwest 308th Street, as legally described in Exhibit A and providing for an effective date.
I'll move it, Mayor.
Moved by Councilwoman Bell, second by Councilman Hodge. Any questions from council? Any comments from council? If not, I will open a public hearing. Any comments from the audience? Any comments from the audience? I will close the public hearing. Any final comments from council?
Mayor, one question.
Mr. Porter?
In some of the previous meetings, we have talked about the fact that, if you recall, the city went to the federal government and got about $7-point-something million to be used on a couple of roads. One of those roads is Lucy Street, and we've asked the county to transfer that portion which was allocated to to Lucy Street, to be allocated to the Campbell Drive corridor that we're talking about right now. And the question is, in regards to when we talk about ramps being built on and off the turnpike, it's totally incumbent upon the private sector to do those ramps. And currently, we're 2 ramps short on the Campbell Drive intersection. Assuming that the county will move those monies, has there been anything done to address the fact of moving those funds around to possibly allocate that money for the ramping system?
Yes, Mr. Porter. We already added to the agreement that we are right now working with the applicant, and hopefully they agree to it and it's going to get signed.
And then all we're waiting for is the MPO, the vote from the MPO?
Yes, as I understand, it's going to the commission meeting sometime this month.
It's scheduled for this month's meeting, MPO,
Okay,
at
so
the MPO.
Depending upon the clearance of the MPO to use those monies to be transferred from one county project to another county project, the availability of the fair share that this development is going to be putting on the table could then be shifted to some of the ramps, correct?
Yes, we can shift the money from the applicant to the ramp and move the money from the Lucy for improvement that the applicant has in their agreement, and we can spend that money on those improvements.
Okay, I just want to be clear that I don't want us to miss the opportunity to get the private sector to build the ramps while we improve the county's infrastructure for them with federal monies. That's the concern, because it's $5 million, and that's a substantial amount of money that could go towards a ramping system or increasing the ramping system, because I believe the plans ultimately don't function without ramps being put in place. We will end up in a failure situation rather quickly because of not having the additional ramps.
Yes, that has been addressed in the agreement.
Okay, thank you. Just wanted to put on the record so that we're clear. Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Vice Mayor?
Mayor, I'd also like to ask staff then if the monies are reallocated from Lucy Street to Campbell Drive in order to facilitate this development. I think clearly that's what's happening. What's the time frame delay for the also much needed improvements for residential traffic on Lucy Street? It's open-ended, there's no future allocation?
On Lucy Street, if I understand your question, was funded by the county in total while we were getting when we initially went up for the money, that was not the case. But in the time we received the money from the federal government and actually got it into where we're going to be able, it was appropriated, we were awarded it, then it had to be appropriated down. The county had acquired the sufficient funds to do all of Lucy Street. Turning back those funds are difficult, even if we had wanted to do it. So we made another arrangement. We used the funds for Lucy Street to do that. The county agreed the money they had slated for Lucy Street would move up to Campbell.
So the federal money is still available to do what needs to be done on Lucy Street as well?
That's correct. Lucy Street is funded totally.
I just want to be sure that we're not moving money to the benefit of one project to the detriment of another. It was all in the timing and the source of the monies.
That's correct.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Let me just follow up, Mayor, too. One of the issues when we went to the federal government and asked them to let the monies move from from one to another, they said it's like it is an act of Congress to move federal monies from one to the other, but the county could shift. We'd have to leave the $5 million of federal money on Lucy Street, and they could take the $5 million worth of money that they've accumulated and move it to another county project. So in essence, we don't give the county $5 million and let them get out of improving another arterial it's clearly their responsibility.
You had mentioned the MPO. Do we have a representative on the MPO? Do we now have an opportunity to appoint someone?
We are in the process of trying to get the University of Florida, which is the official designator of once you get 50,000, and then once we get that, then we move forward for our seat on the MPO.
Okay, good. So that study's underway?
It's on the way. It was redone according to the way they want it, and I think it's in the midst of being debated now with members of the University of Florida group that do these statistics.
Okay. When it's finalized, I'd look forward for the council to get a copy of it. Okay.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Porter. Any other comments? If not, roll call, Madam Clerk. Oh, Mike, you have one thing? Don't ruin it. You may have to vote.
Mr. Mayor and Council, for the record, Michael J. Marcus. I'm an attorney and lobbyist with offices at 317 North Chrome Avenue in Homestead, which I'm supposed to do, right, Mr. City Attorney? Okay, before it gets voted on. It is a great pleasure to be here after much work and effort on both the developer's part and staff. I'd just like to say that staff has really done a yeoman's chore and stepping up to the plate and doing this and getting involved and planning this on the best interest of the city of Homestead. As far as addressing the traffic issues, they really have stepped up and done a great job, and it's taken a lot of effort on both the developer side and the staff side, and I'd like to compliment staff for sticking with it, for moving as quickly as possible, and for bringing it to a head and moving forward with the developer and for a project that I believe is going to be an outstanding asset of this community. And I really would like to go on record stating that. One point I would like to make is that our traffic study as proposed and the improvements that are suggested, take into consideration the trips generated for both Phase 1 and Phase 2 of the as proposed, and including as the improvements that are to be approved, do anticipate all of the potential that is of trips that are generated for both phases, although we're just here on site plan approval of Phase 1. Again, I'd like to take this opportunity to identify for the record and introduce, I've met these people a number of times, and we have Jeff Martin, Tom Casano, Gary Sipo, and Kathy Sweetapple are here with me this evening. And I thank you very much for this opportunity. I am pleased to be here tonight for approval of the site plan. Thank you.
Well, Mike, let me say that I think the last time we dealt with this, it was a very lively debate. and I saw some depressed faces out there, especially among your team. but I knew there was an answer, and that's just a matter of we all getting together and working it out and coming to some compromise. And you guys did a first-class job, and it's going to be a first-class project for the city of Homestead. I just want to thank you all for staying the course and doing what we know you can do. That's come with a very good project, and we dealt with the transportation issues, and I'm pleased to hear that and look forward to the project coming into Homestead.
Thank you.
Mayor?
Ms. Bell?
Mike, as soon as I saw the pavilion project back on the agenda, I called Ms. Kamali and was assured that everything was very worked out. So I want to compliment you as well. I want to compliment the team for working with our staff so well, and that's really the way it should be. And I do also look forward to the Homestead Pavilion project coming online. Look very much forward to it. Thank you.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Losner?
Yes.
Councilman Porter?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Garner?
Yes.
Councilman Hodge?
Yes.
Mayor Warren?
Yes.
Motion carries.
That completes your quasi-judicial section of your agenda. Moving on to the legislative matters. Item 8A is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, authorizing transmittal to the Department of Community Affairs and an update to the comprehensive plan, establishing a mixed-use opportunity area, the MUOA, land use classification within the future land use element, applying the mixed-use opportunity area to create the Lucy Street opportunity area, the LSOA, as legally described in Exhibit A, amending the professional mixed-use PMU land use classification to allow an increase in the maximum lot coverage, amending the transportation element, and amending the capital improvements element pursuant to the provisions of the Local Government Comprehensive Planning and Land Development Regulation Act, and providing for an effective date. This is your transmittal hearing for this proposed comp plan amendment.
Moved by Councilman Porter. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Hodge. Any questions from council?
Yes, Mayor.
Mr. Vice Mayor?
The first time this came before us, there were some concerns at council level as to the outside density permissible. And I want to clarify something, because either I'm missing something or there's some inconsistencies in the explanation. In the Exhibit A, the discussion talks about the base average density allowed is 15 dwelling units per gross acre, then with the bonus. And typically, when we look at projects now, if it's a 20-acre project, for example, but 15 of it will be used for residential and 5 will be used for commercial, the total number of units is calculated based upon a per acre density for the entire parcel, not just the residential portion of the parcel. And that's the way the text contained in Exhibit A, about 3/4 of the way down, reads. If I go over to page 2 of Exhibit A, the tab 7, where it talks about the Lucy Street opportunity area, and then there's a chart, if you will, talks about density/intensity of land uses, and it talks about a maximum residential density of 743 on 33 acres, which is the 25% residential usage. You have that? That seems to be, if that's a special provision for this parcel, is that a special provision for this parcel, or is it an inconsistent illustration with the text on the previous page?
No, that is a special situation for this parcel. If you remember when the planned urban neighborhood thing came in for the southwest neighborhood, this is similar, where we set up the general guidelines, and then for each specific area you want to come in for, you set up those capacities and caps and stuff like that. So theoretically, they might have been able to get more units on the Lucy Street area, but they have set a maximum cap for a certain number of dwelling units, so they would not be able to go over that cap, and that's based on, the trip analysis and stuff like that. Theoretically, they could have gotten more units, but then you still have to account for the trips that you're generating and all the capacity you're using, so they set that cap. It doesn't line up with the maximum amount.
The outside maximum, because when you do the math on the 743 over 33 acres, that's still below the 25 units. And if 25 units were permitted based on the whole 133 acres, the actual density would be would be just above 100 units per acre.
Much, much higher, yes.
Right. Because if you multiply the 133 acres by 25 and then divide that number by the acreage, you're right at 100, which is kind of scary to me. That was the question I had. So each parcel then will have its own.
We'll be setting up its own caps.
Own caps, depending upon design and creativity and so forth.
Yes.
Well, I just want to say, I still have my concerns that I don't know that 23 is necessary to make a project work. I personally view that as excessive density. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Vice Mayor. Ms. Bell?
Thank you. Are we going to be coming back to council as you adjust for each particular area, or does this cover for the entire area?
No, this will cover, this creates a new land use category, the mixed use, and then it puts it on the Lucy area with these parameters set in the code. If they wanted to someone wanted to come in for another area, something off US 1 or somewhere else, then we would consider that another application, another change to the comprehensive plan, and they would have to go before you and get the comp plan amendment to add another, say, a US 1 opportunity area or some other area of the city.
Right. I do also have some concerns because when we're looking at, and as I was reading, we're looking at a density of 15 to 25 dwelling units per acre for the compact mixed-use area, and then you turn around, you have the base density. So we're talking about the base density is going to be 15 units per acre with a bonus of up to 25 additional units.
A total of 25.
A total of 25. Okay. It says a bonus of up to 25. Okay. We could really end up with extreme high density, especially because it's gross. Literally.
Well, a couple of things. First of all, you can only go up to 50% residential, so it wouldn't be for the whole 133. For half of that amount can go up to the either 15 or 25 units per acre. And then to get 25 units per acre, you guys have to be satisfied that they're doing something beyond the norm. If they're not doing something special, then you don't have to grant that up to 25 units per acre.
Determination of what this particular council deems creative excellence.
Right,
the term used is creative excellence.
Correct. And basically, the norm is what we already have in our urban design guidelines that we go by the Miami-Dade County Urban Design Guidelines. So they already have a lot of parameters in there, and to get anything above 15 units per acre, you have to go beyond that, even more landscaping, even more sidewalks or balconies or whatever types of features.
Yeah, and while I understand the transmittal and I don't have a problem with that, I definitely am concerned with the density, what could become of this particular density. I do have my concerns as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bell. Any other comments from council, Mr. Porter?
Just one comment. Obviously, staff, this piece of property is going to be subject to any and all similar transportation issues that we've been dealing with regards to DDR and any of the other developments. So there's going to be another level of check and balance, so to speak, when it comes back with densities, trip counts, and all these other concerns that you guys have been working so hard on with the DDR property.
Absolutely.
So there, again, is another layer of process, so to speak, that has to go through.
It still has to come back to you again with a site plan review, and everything has to go through council and CAL and planning and zoning.
Okay. And also, Mayor, I just wanted to say, just for the record, I see Carla and Mr. Alger out there and John Lynn. They wanted to just put on the record that they came forward and have agreed to and are working currently with Turnpike Authority to do 2 ramps on Lucy Street at their own expense. And there are currently no hiccups at this particular point with the Turnpike Authority. Nobody's asking any questions. So I just want to thank Mr. Alger and Carla and John for actually stepping up and making that happen. That's going to be it's going to allow the projects to go a lot farther along, and we appreciate your contribution and your vision and your foresight to see it, recognize it, and then ultimately deal with it. So I just wanted to thank you publicly. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Porter. This is a public hearing. Any comments from the audience?
Ed Powell, 2274 Southeast 27th Drive, Homestead. Planning and zoning heard this our last meeting time, and we created a new zoning category, and mixed use. Well, guess what? That's also known as a town center. We've just created zoning for a town center. That's kind of interesting. We haven't heard of town centers before, now we've created zoning for one. Anyway, part of it, looking at that Lucy Street parcel with the Algers, 12th Street runs north and south, and used to come all the way through from Maury, kind of wind its way around and go down to Canal. It's been disconnected. And I'd asked Sherry this week, basically, if there was any plans to reopen that and make it a north-south connector. And I thought she had indicated that part of the Algers plan would be to improve that and make that a bypass. No? Okay. The other thing that you weren't aware of, part of the offer from the Algers was to take the 4-lane, eventually that's going to be Canal, and add 2 more lanes at their expense in their development. And part of it was, let's do it all together. Let's put in 6 lanes all at once, not 4 and then 2 more later on. So there was some nice things. And also at 6th Avenue, at BJ's, it's 2 lanes. And hopefully there's some thought about at least putting a through lane and left-hand turn lane, particularly when you're going south. It gets rather backed up there. So we'll take care of Canal, east and west, 4-lane, 6-lane, but we still got 6th Avenue to think about. We still got 12th Avenue that hopefully gets extended. And also anything that goes north and south that goes up to US 1, we should be thinking about widening at some point. Right. These 2-lane residential streets, and Sherry mentioned that where there's an issue where they're talking to landowners, they're talking about conserving right-of-way. So, you know, to me, I go up these side roads north and south to hit US 1 to stay off some of the other roads. Well, at some point, we're going to need those to be 4 lanes to get north and south. Thank you very much.
Mayor. Well, I'm hoping at some point, Ed, that Mr. Porter and the staff bring forth this comprehensive transportation master plan to address some of those issues you just mentioned. Mike?
Mr. Mayor, council members, you actually beat me to it, and this is a future land use change. When it comes to the actual project itself, we will determine the impact, and trust me, it will be taken care of.
Mayor, can I also comment too? Mr. Powell, part of the issue with the road that's currently unused, that has to move in order for the ramps to be built. So there is a process that we have to look at to shift that road, because that's actually going to be the ramp. That is where it's going to have to be built. Second thing is, Ms. Kamali and myself are meeting with Mayor Wallace tomorrow and Henry Eiler to look at, and I think Ms. Alders is supposed to be there as well, to bring to Mayor Wallace's attention that it's a shared road. So once you get past 6th Avenue, or whatever it is, the 3rd or 4th name, it becomes a shared responsibility of Florida City and Homestead. So we know it's an issue, and we're reaching out to Mayor Wallace to partner with us to go to the county and see if there's some additional funding, because I agree with you. There's no reason to build 4 lanes and then cut the ribbon and then tear it up. So it's definitely on the radar screen. I don't know what we can get done, but we're going to definitely do better with Florida City's support, because it's a shared responsibility. So that is in the works, and hopefully Mayor will be able to bring something back in the next couple of days the next meeting we'll bring back the information as far as the discussion with Mayor Wallace. So.
Thank you, Mr. Porter.
Yes, sir.
Mayor,
Ms. Bell?
one quick comment. I did want to make that. I also want to take into account that this is also, I know that we do make allowances for density among traffic corridors, and this is literally a traffic corridor. So, and also the fact that Mr. Mashahada said that each and every site plan is going to be coming back before council. So I do recognize that. I just want us to proceed with caution. That's pretty much my statement, and we need to proceed with caution when we're referring to this type of densities. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bell. This is a public hearing. Any comments from the audience? Any comments from the audience?
Amanda Cork with 2 Cardinals, 1441 Brickell Avenue. I just On behalf of the Alger family, I'd like to make a comment that they've been working very proactively with the city, with the Florida Turnpike Enterprise, with the transportation consultants of the city, trying to facilitate the best project possible for the city, and we appreciate your recommending transmittal of this amendment, in that the adoption of the ultimate adoption of the amendment will be coming back to the city after transmittal to Department of Community Affairs. So we appreciate the opportunity for the department to take a look at this and evaluate it independently. If you have any other questions, though, we'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No further public discussion. I will close the public hearing. Any final comments from council? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Excuse me, before you take your vote, I just need to mention that pursuant to state statute, we have a sign-up sheet, and that's made available by the clerk. So if anyone in the audience would like any information pertaining to this transmittal and this comp plan amendment, or any of the ones on the agenda this evening, please see the clerk with your name and address so that we can provide you with information as this proceeds through the process.
Thank you. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Porter?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Garner?
Yes.
Councilman Hodge?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Losner?
No.
Mayor Warren?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next item is the second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the firefighters' retirement plan at Article 4 of Chapter 22.5 Retirement Programs of the City Code by creating a new Section 22.5-276 Deferred Retirement Option Program, providing for severability, inclusion of the code, and effective date. This is the second reading and public hearing.
I'll move it.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Bell, second by Councilman Hodge. Any questions from council? If not, I'll open a public hearing. Any comments from the audience? Could I have your attention, please? Any comments from the audience? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Any final comments from council? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Bell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Garner?
Yes.
Councilman Hodge?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Losner?
Yes.
Councilman Porter?
Yes.
Mayor Warren?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next item is an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting the request of Bernard Martins for a small-scale amendment to the comprehensive plan by changing the land use designation of an approximately .59 acre site from heavy commercial use HCU to medium-density residential use MRU, located along west of North Liberty Avenue, north of theoretical Southwest 332nd Street, and southeast of the Homestead extension of the Florida Turnpike. It's legally described as Exhibit A and providing for an effective date. This is the second reading and public hearing.
Moved by Councilwoman Bell. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Hodge. Any comments from council? If not, I'll open the public hearing. Any comments from the audience? Any comments from the audience? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Any final comments from council? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Bell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Garner?
Yes.
Councilman Hodge?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Losner?
Yes.
Councilman Porter?
Yes.
Mayor Warren?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next item is an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, providing for the appropriation and transfer of funds within the general fund as established by city budget for the fiscal year, which commenced on October 1st, 2005, by appropriating and transferring $1,214,550 from the general fund balance account to other general fund revenue and expense accounts, items described herein for the purpose of acquisition of land for the new city hall, providing for an effective date. This is the second reading and public hearing.
Move it.
Moved by the Vice Mayor, second by Councilman Hodge. Any comments from the council? If not, I'll open the public hearing. Any comments from the audience? Any comments from the audience? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Any final comments from council? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilwoman Garner?
Yes.
Councilman Hodge?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Losner?
Yes.
Councilman Porter?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bell?
Yes.
Mayor Warren?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next item is the first reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending the residential area council seat descriptions as authorized by Section 2.03C of the City Charter, revising and updating the boundaries of the 4 residential areas, additionally further revising the above-referenced residential area boundaries, providing for boundary descriptions for 2 additional residential areas subject to approval of the elected electors of the city, providing for inclusion in the code, severability, and for an effective date. So first reading.
Moved by Councilman Hodge, second by Councilman Porter. Any comments from council?
Yes, Mayor.
Go ahead.
I just want to say I'm glad to see some more representation on the east side, as I have the largest district. I'm glad Waterstone will have their own area, and I'm also glad to see that Keys Landing will now be officially part of Keysgate. Instead of being in the villages, now we'll all be together. So I fully support this.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Yes.
Ms. Bell?
I have a little bit different perspective on that. While I absolutely agree that we definitely need another East Side seat, there's no question about it. The reason I'm going to be objecting to this is because we are going to be having literally 4 seats, 4 East Side seats, and only 2 seats on the West. If you have a mayor that is East Side seat, you're going to have 5 seats on the East and only 2 on the West. So I think not just population is something that you have to take into account. You have to take into account the city as a whole and representation. So I'm concerned about representation. And even though we are elected at large, we still obviously have seats for a reason. So that's the only reason I will be objecting to this at this particular time. While we definitely need another seat on the East Side, we still maintain that we need 1 at-large seat left, so that anybody, whether East or West, can jump into that particular seat, and then the voters would decide that. It leaves an option to the voters' choice, if you will. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Bell.
Mayor.
Mr. Vice Mayor?
Yes, I'd also like to add that as we, following the initial committee process and as we went through the public workshop process and discussion here at the council table, while I agree and support the addition of another seat on the east side, is what we've commonly called the Waterstone seat, I think we do need to continue to maintain that escape valve, if you will, for an at-large seat. I could envision circumstances where someone who has merit, deserves to be elected, and is ready to seek office would have no recourse or no ability to run due to where he or she may live at any particular given time. And that's the first part of my objection. There are 2 issues in this ordinance. And the second implements some recommendations for adjustments to the existing district boundaries. My primary objection is, and I want to go back for a minute, I agree that population should not be the overriding issue for the creation of that additional seat on the east side, to the exclusion of any at-large seats. But we looked at many factors, including any and all demographic factors. And I firmly believe that the Venetia development is not, in my view, properly part of what we commonly refer to as the Villages of Homestead seat, and that would be the second effect of the adoption of this ordinance, that the line would be adjusted to include Venetia in the Villages of Homestead seat rather than the Southwest area seat. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor.
Mayor, can I ask a question?
Mr. Porter?
Mr. Weiss, in this, if there were an intention to try to carve out or save back an at-large seat, what's the? I mean, obviously, from a procedural standpoint, the lines can be moved by the council any given time, or no?
It can be done, except within 1 year prior to the first filing date for an election. Under the new, that's the way the new charter will read, but it's basically 1 year prior to an election.
Mr. Mayor.
But it's not quite the question you asked, but the at-large seats are being done or not done by the voters.
Right.
The council doesn't have the ability to create an at-large seat or a residential seat. So if the council wanted to was not really in favor of what was being done, but at the recommendation of the Charter Review Committee, then you'd certainly feel free to express your views that way. But in terms of changing and creating a seat, the council doesn't have the ability to do that without going to the electorate.
So we're drawing a line for a seat, basically, that hasn't really been adopted yet.
Correct. What we're doing is we're creating, it's a contingency. plan. And if it's approved, we provided for that. And if it's not approved, the ordinance also provides for that. So if it's not approved, then some of the language and things that you're approving will not have any effect, and under the terms of the ordinance will be just deleted.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Porter. This is a public hearing. Any comments from the audience? Any comments from the audience? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Any final comments from council? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Okay. Councilman Hodge?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Losner?
No.
Councilman Porter?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bell?
No.
Councilwoman Garner?
Yes.
Mayor Warren?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next time is emergency ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending ordinance number 2006-9041, providing for amendment of the Community Redevelopment Agency budget for the fiscal year which commenced on October 1st, 2006, in order to decrease both the revenue expense budget for the COA by $38,728, providing for severability, adoption as emergency ordinance, and an effective date.
I'll move it.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Bell, second by Councilman Hodge. Any comments from council?
Sure, Mayor. This is simply an adjustment because of the reduction in the millage rate by the county, so this actually reduces the amount that the CRA is actually going to have in its budget that it did budget. So it's just a correction, if you will. Did I cover that well?
Thank you, Ms. Bell. This is a public hearing. Any comments from the audience? Any comments from the audience? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Any final comments from council? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Losner?
Yes.
Councilman Porter?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bell?
Yes.
Councilwoman Garner?
Yes.
Councilman Hodge?
Yes.
Mayor Warren?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Public comments? Any comments from the public at this time? Any comments from the public at this time?
Ed Powell, 2274 Southeast 27th Drive, Keysgate. Just two quick comments. People live over in Keysgate and have been complaining about the charter school traffic situation. They instituted a new traffic pattern that to me, living coming out of Centergate, seems to be working quite well. They used to line up along Kingman, and now they are allowing them to go into the parking lot of the stadium, and they route them around, and as the school lot empties out, then they shuffle in some more autos, so the children never cross the street. And I think that hopefully solves some of the problems over there. Also, the last time we met, the issue of trees and foliage on Palm Drive, and I know Councilman Porter and I talked Saturday, and they were in the process of removing a number of those areas that were blocking vision with those major palmetto. I don't know if they call them palmettos or not, but if you drive down Palm, they went where you had any place where you had to turn, they basically opened everything up within 100 yards, 200 yards, so you had visibility at all places where you could cross along Palm Drive. So hopefully that satisfied many people. It does look a lot better anyway. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. Well, I haven't gotten any emails lately about the traffic problem at the school, so I assume we got a temporary solution. Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. A lot of you have seen me in the past. My name is Hiram Farmer. I reside at 2646 Southeast 21st Court, Keysgate area also. Previous to that, I lived on 813 Southwest 5th Street, where Councilman Norman Hodge resides. Had a lot of talks with him. I don't live in the neighborhood right now, but still, I take great pride in it, and we've had some issues, and I must commend you on what you've done. The grass is cut too, by the way. He knows what I'm talking about. I've come to you, first of all, to thank you for your support on our St. Jude's Children's Hospital project. I want to apologize to the attorney. That check hasn't cleared. I've been holding it due to some of the teachers who didn't work during the summer, and the first check had to cover paying the summer bills. The second check had to cover catching up with the current bills, and now we're getting it straight. I'm going to turn the money in on Monday. So for those of you who turned in checks and wonder why haven't they cleared, that's the reason. I apologize for that. What I'm going to do first, a a lot of you know a little something about me, but this says a little bit more. This is sort of like life story. They kind of say that your works or your name gets to places before you, and that's my name, and that's basically what I'm about. So I hope you're pleased with what I've done thus far, and I'm still trying to accomplish some things. The next thing I'm going to pass around is what's going around for teachers. Not going to get too personal there. I get a little touch. Betty Farmer is my mother. She died of cancer. That's why I'm doing this. It's been going great. We've raised over $1,000. The business sector of Homestead has responded great. Florida City also. As I said, just wanted to thank you. I also have a few concerns about my school, Leisure City. As I said, in the past year and a half under the leadership of Mr. Charles Hankerson, we have gone from a D to a B, 8 points short of an A. The only problem is in going up, it's kind of funny. We lost Title I monies. Some of you may know where I'm going with this. So we lost some teachers. We also have the pressure of maintaining that grade, which isn't a problem. It's just when you start losing monies and there are issues about, I'll just use this example, we just recently received some performance-based incentive money, and I'll just say there was some question about who should get how much, and thanks to our great leadership, we did it in a positive manner. I'd like to talk to whoever's over education at the end of the meeting. I have some concerns that are coming from our school, and if that person can help us, I spoke with Mr. Charles Hankerson, and he would love to speak with the people involved with the educational process.
Councilwoman Bell.
Okay, thank you so much. In closing, because I'm not going to stay long, this won't be the last time you see me because we have a project coming up. That's why we're closing this one with the American Heart Association, Jump Rope for Heart program. Some of you who are familiar with elementary school education know that that's a sort of a bread and butter as far as raising funds for the American Heart Association. And I can say proudly that I've been a 19-year volunteer since being here in Dade County, and I take great pride in it. Sort of on a mission there too. My father's had 2 mild heart attacks, and I do all I can for the association. I just once again want to thank you for your support. Hopefully this isn't the end of a partnership with Homestead. Just want to say thank you, and the checks will be sent off next week. So yeah, I know it's been a long time, Mr. Weiss, and I just want to thank everyone. If there's anyone in the audience that would be interested in making a donation, I have the literature to show you. And once again, thank you.
Thank you. Business from the city manager?
Just a couple of items, Mayor. Wanted to alert the viewing audience and the attendees tonight that tomorrow, October 5th at 10 a.m., there's a groundbreaking of the East Homestead Fire Station number 65. That's the second new fire station we had out east, which was sorely needed. That location is on Palm Drive, right just south of the high school, right across Palm Drive, and that'll be at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. We're also pleased to announce that the City of Homestead's Public Works and Services Department has started service in the area of Waterstone as of October 1st for solid waste and trash pickup. Crews will be out collecting garbage on Mondays and Thursdays and trash once a week. Our crews will also be picking up recycling as well out there. So that transition has occurred.
I mentioned to Rick earlier, could you follow up on, in the Miami Herald on Sunday, there was an announcement of the county's reallocation of home funds and HODAG funds of $1 million to the Southwest Community of Home Funds and $1 million on the HODAG grant funds for the Southwest Community. Could someone follow up and see where that money is going? Because I think they've allocated through the Empowerment Trust to Homestead. So if we could get an update on it, probably at the next committee of the whole.
Yes, ma'am.
But it was in the paper. Reports of Mayor and Council. Councilwoman Garner.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to congratulate Mr. Ray Timmons. I was supposed to present him with a proclamation at the Agri-Council Barbecue on Saturday, but unfortunately I was ill and I didn't make it there. But I did want to give him some public congratulations. He's been in the agriculture insurance field since 1972, and he was honored by the Dade County Agri-Council, and the city gave him a proclamation as well, naming September 30th as Ray Timmons Day. So just congratulations to him. Sorry I couldn't make it. On Friday, October 6th, that's this Friday, will be the 37th annual MAC Golf Tournament. That's the Military Affairs Committee, which I'm a proud member of, along with Councilwoman Bell and Councilman Porter. The golf tournament raises most of their funds for the year. It's going to be at Redland Golf and Country Club. Breakfast at 7, shotgun start at 8:30 a.m. And if you don't know, the Military Affairs Committee puts on the annual Veterans Day Parade, which is an expensive task. So if you can support them, they would appreciate it. The Veterans Day Parade will be on Saturday, November 11th. And Mayor, I just wanted to let you know that I won't be here at the next council meeting. I'll try to wave at you guys if I fly by, but I'll be in an F-16 with Colonel Falcon, so I'll miss you guys.
I know you won't.
Just come back alive. Thank you. Councilman Hodge?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll be real brief. There was issue that we had gave direction about the name of the streets, and we had committed it to the Human Relations Board. And I've been getting reports. It seems that they've been getting confused with dealing with the issues of the financing, and the direction wasn't necessarily dealing with the financing, but it was basically building the consensus of processes of having it done and getting individual names. And I wanted that to be brought out because I had a couple of names, and more specifically the Willie Brown Avenue that I mentioned several months ago. That resolution should have came back. I kind of expect that the next meeting, because it's been plenty of time to work on that. I hope to be able to do it throughout the Christmas, be able to unveil it for him and his family before the Christmas holidays. And also, in addition to that, and I know that the Human Relations Board is supposed to be doing this for the entire city, but in addition to that, in honor of Deacon Isaiah Key, he lives currently, he's 102, I think he'll be 103 next July 4th, and he's very, very much a pillar of this community. And he's still living. As a matter of fact, that's his grandson-in-law there. And I wanted to make sure Southwest 5th Street has that same recognition for him, and that will be from Southwest 9th Avenue north to Southwest 6th Avenue. And both of those I would like to be able to unveil before the Christmas holidays. And then from there, I hope that the Human Relations Board and hope that I asked Patty to, I don't know if she's still here, to make sure that she notifies me the next meeting so we can kind of have that direction.
Councilman Hodge, members of council, we've been meeting the Human Relations Board. The rules and regulations for the street naming have been finalized. The problem is we have not been able to get a quorum to approve those. The resolution to move forward the naming of the street honoring Mr. Brown is also ready to go. We've gotten direction to call the members to see if they want to continue on the board. One member, we're going to make an honorary member. We're also looking to amend potentially the ordinance so that we reduce the number of members on the board so that we will be able to get a quorum. But that information has been ready 4 months, and the problem is not being able to get a quorum to approve it.
Excellent. And also in preparation and helping and assisting with this process, I came up with the vision of being able to put some form together that we can issue out and maybe put also on our website that the community can initiate names and a history of individuals that they can submit that the board can consider for the street naming, so that way we can get our community involved in this process as well. I thought that would be a very innovative idea, and it saves some of the history and homework that the Human Relations Board would have to do.
Councilman Hodge, we have all of the policy and the procedures ready to go, so that as soon as the board has a quorum, we prove that we can upload that immediately to the website. We can also put out news releases, etc.
Now, I do hope that Willie Brown and Isaiah Key do come.
Mr. Brown's resolution is ready to move forward. We just need the quorum, sir.
All right, thanks. And the next item that I had was also several months ago. I had talked about the service lines, coming up with an ordinance for the service lines for infill housing. I know we had talked about the new developments have a resolution. Well, there's this code that says that when there's a new development, they have to do the underground wiring. But I wanted to try and implement something where when they do infill housing, that is required also, because that's currently not in code. And the reason being is in the future we're planning to look at slowly going underground where it's possible and where it's feasible. And if we put that particular code in place right now, that would save monies down the road. And just doing the service line is only $1,500 bucks more per unit. And if an individual is paying $240,000 for a unit, another $1,500 bucks to have their service line underground from the main poles is a minimum cost, and not only that is provides safety for that home, because the majority of the times when there are storms and there are outages is because of the trees that are falling on the service line. So we want to really talk about that, and I think I've been preaching about that since Wilma. So let's not let Wilma come back around again before we decide to move on that. And finally, is to transfer the transfer line poles that are on the west side of Lucy Street and going along Redland. We had that discussion when we made the approval. The following meeting after that, we received an update stating that we will find the additional funding to put that underground, because we are investing a lot of money, not only in the Southwest Master Plan, but in the community in a whole to upgrade the look of the community. And just so happened, I was I tend to work a lot. I leave my house and go straight to the turnpike, but Saturday I was riding around the neighborhood and going down Lucy Street to go get me some barbecue from Melvin. And as I'm going down Lucy Street, I see this big giant pole sitting on the side of Lucy Street, and I said, "How did those get there?" Yeah, and the real question was, you know, I know we approved the poles, but then we got a report later that we will find a way to be able to do that portion of it underground. So around that community there's that big huge poles, and it kind of startled me, you know, because the next thing I figured I'd be seeing is a cell tower sitting there with a swing, and we call it a green space. So I really want to see if there's a method of being able to fix this, because we are trying to upgrade the community. And And I know that those poles are going all the way down Lucy Street, but on the east side of Lucy Street, there's a barrier between the community and the poles, and that is going to be a major street. But on the west side of Lucy Street, that's pretty much a neighborhood road, and there's going to be very little bit development there. And I know they go right by the shotgun houses there, where hopefully we plan to have some form of nice townhouse development. And I can imagine someone buying a townhouse and the kids get to play hide and seek behind those poles because they're so close to where that community is supposed to be. So I think we really need to take a strong look at that. And that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Howard. Mr. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. Well, a couple of Mr. Hodges' issues brought some things to my mind. Kurt, some time ago, I'll just throw this out for wherever it needs to go. Some time ago, this council designated some naming for the stops along the busway. At the same time, we convinced the various agencies to adopt our particular style of lighting and style of busway stops and bus shelters. Just so we could follow up and make sure that those names have been transmitted, and that there have been so many probably staff changes in the 2 to 3 years since we adopted that we're certain that whoever's doing the construction there makes sure that those names are in fact affixed to those stations. And one of those names certainly in the southwest area honors longtime resident Jesse Robinson, and we want to make sure that that's preserved. Finally, in that regard, I know at one point there was some conversation about not naming streets for living people. Was that addressed in the deliberations of the Human Relations Board?
Councilman Vice Mayor Lasner, yes, it was. Basically, they would have to have justification if they wanted to name a street after somebody still living. Like Councilman Hodge had just asked about Isaac Keith. He's 103 years old.
Yeah, because I know that many communities have been embarrassed by subsequent activities of living people who've had streets named for them. I don't think there's a lot of risk in that happening with 105-year-old church deacon. That's what I'm saying. It has to have no justification. They have drugs for that now. But, as a big picture, I wondered if that was addressed, and certainly be very, very wary of getting in the habit of doing that. I think it's probably, for a specific named person that, absent some extenuating circumstances, my preference would be is that they be deceased. Well, this is certainly the time of year that all of our calendars begin filling up with multiple items on the weekends. And first and foremost, this weekend is a voter registration drive that the county will be holding right here in these chambers from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. this Saturday. It's, I believe, one of the last available days to register to vote, to be able to vote in the November 7th election. And this voter registration drive that's obviously run by the county is done at the request of the city of Homestead. We're going to have some more extensive publicity, and if for some reason you're not registered here, whether you're a newcomer and haven't moved your residence address and your voting residency, or just have never registered, please do so. As I've written and spoke of many times, there's very little that's more important than going out and having a solid voter turnout from this community. Strong turnout gets the attention of elected officials at all levels. In order for us to continue to prosper at the state and federal level for transportation monies, as we've done so well with the delegation in the U.S. House of Representatives, and from at least one of our United States senators, they look at what we're doing, and I certainly would just continue to encourage everyone to not only register, but to register and vote. On October 14th, the Women's Club of Homestead will be holding its third annual Murder Mystery Dinner at the Women's Club Clubhouse. If you've ever had one of those meals there, that's well worth the price of the ticket. And as I announced earlier today, I swear I had nothing to do with this topic, but the theme for the murder mystery to be solved is something along the lines of a spoof on what goes on in Homestead.
It's called Homicide in Homestead.
So I can't wait to see how that evolves, and that's Saturday, October 14th at the Women's Club. Also on October 27th, on a Friday evening, the Rotary Club of Homestead will be once again putting on its spaghetti dinner to benefit the Homestead Redland area Girl Scout troops. This has been going on since the early 1950s as best we can tell, and we served nearly 1,000 people last year. There's also a football game that night between South Dade and Homestead. And what was the other event, Kurt? There's another event that night that was discussed today. We had a couple of big events that night that are a good excuse to come have some Rotary spaghetti to benefit the Girl Scout troops in our area. The costume balls that night. That's right. Many of us will be yes. Well, I guess you're gonna do that commercial later, right? You got your shirt on anyway to do the commercial, don't you yet? Finally, and speaking of voting, I had the privilege last week, and I wanted to talk about this because I know some of the kids may get a chance to hear about this. I had the pleasure of swearing in the newly elected vice mayor and mayor for Ms. Mitchell's second grade class at Princeton Christian School. And it was really, and I was student council president there a long time ago. But to see that all the classes really got into it, they had their campaign posters out and their slogans, and that's the time to get them when they're young and get them interested, not just in politics, but the idea of service and building a better community, whether it be in that classroom or within the perimeters of our school. So I just wanted to congratulate and acknowledge all of those kids at Princeton Christian School who took part in that process, and thank Ms. Mitchell's second grade class for the opportunity to come and participate. That's all I had. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Vice Mayor. Councilman Porter?
Mayor, I just have one question. Mr. Manager, I know they've gone and done some of the preliminary removal out on 344. Is the intention to try to move some of that off the road as well? I know we have the crossover problem, but the other issue is the fact that green shrubbery is growing into the center lane, for lack of it. It's actually growing across the yellow sideline. Are you going to trim that back as well?
Yes, the intention is to go at least 5 feet into the median.
Okay.
To improve the visibility. Yeah, that's the next phase.
Okay, I thought that was the case. I just wanted to double check. That's all I had. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Porter. Councilwoman Bell?
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to mention I'm wearing a purple ribbon here tonight because October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And it's not something that you would typically talk about from a council seat, but it's a very, very, very serious problem. It's a serious problem not just in the state, but it's a serious problem in our nation. Many women are victimized through domestic violence, and I'm learning of that firsthand now with some very personal experiences, so it's very near and dear to my heart. And I wanted to mention that on October the 25th, that SOS, which is an arm of our Homestead Police Department, is having a candlelight vigil on domestic violence. And so I plan on being there, and it is going to be at the PAL gym, right? Yeah, it's going to be at the PAL gym, so I wanted to mention that. Thank you, Vice Mayor, for mentioning many of the things I was going to. Appreciate that. I wanted to compliment the Chamber of Commerce. They had a very, very nice chamber installation banquet. Went very, very, very well. The Ag Barbecue was great. I literally ran from the Ag Barbecue to the Police Explorer graduation. And the Police Explorer graduation was top-notch. It was great seeing the Explorers and the cadets that are now Explorers, and they were very, very excited, and it was just a really, really a wonderful evening. Also, we had our EFBD meeting yesterday, and we had a quorum. We have quorum issues as well. And I'm very happy to say that the EFBD has permit in hand for the very first EFBD school, and it only took us just about 2 years. Believe it or not, the recommendation that was made by our specialist who was working on the Panther issue, the original recommendation that was made back I think 18 or so months ago, was pretty much what they went with, almost 18 months later. And first we had the Durham issues and the mitigation of the 5 acres and wetlands mitigation, then we had a Panther issue and on and on. So we have permit in hand, so hopefully we'll be looking forward to a groundbreaking probably sometime in December. We're looking at December. We're still working on interlocal agreements with the school board, the city, the county, some joint use agreements, and so there's a lot to be worked on, but I'm very, very excited. It's huge that we have permit in hand. Also, I attended the lunchtime lecture series this past Monday. Mita Jensen spoke on the history of Biscayne National Park, and actually it was begun by a member of one of the earliest members of the Women's Club to allocate land and purchase land to acquire what was the beginnings of Biscayne National Park. Very, very interesting. Also, I'm a new member of the Community Relations Council with Job Corps, and I attended the first meeting this past month. And the Chamber of Commerce had a very, very good planning session, and I attended the workshop on workforce housing, as did Vice Mayor. We went in the workshop on workforce housing, and it is an issue that a lot of cities are contending with, and that's just affordable housing, and not affordable housing like you might think about, but affordable housing, workforce housing for teachers, for nurses, for people who make a decent living, but that the cost of a house is just a bit out of their reach. So it was very, very interesting. Also, talking about voting, my daughter's in college, and she's 19, and she called me, and she was wondering, does she vote up there? Does she do an absentee ballot from here? What's the process? And she was telling me quite indignantly that you would not believe how many students are not registered to vote, and she just could not believe it and was quite indignant. So I wouldn't be surprised if she doesn't have some type of a voters drive at USF in Tampa. And I wanted to tell parents, when your child is 17, you can register them to vote at 17 and a half. That's right, 17 and a half. Well, 17 plus, and drop it in the mail, and on their 18th birthday, they will get that voter's registration in the mail for them, and that's, it was a very, very exciting day in our house when our kids got the ability to vote, so it was a big deal. And finally, I wanted to ask about, I had given Julio some brochures about a month and a half or so ago on the cameras at the intersections for red light running. Have we made any progress on investigating that or researching that? Who was that?
That was PD.
Okay. Have we made any progress on that?
I think Scott Bell was looking.
On PD?
Yeah, he was looking at that, and there was still some state statute that we had, that they were looking at again to clear the use of that. There was still some question on that, but Scott Bell's working that. I'll get with you.
Would you please get with me? Because my understanding of state statute is that, of course, no points can be assessed for red light running only, and a ticket would just be mailed to the home, and it would just be basically a financial incentive not to run. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. That's it.
Thank you, Ms. Bell. Appointment to the Mayor's Youth Council, Maria Matherin. Is there a motion? Moved by Councilwoman Garner, second by Councilman Hodge. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Appointment to the Historic Preservation Board, Ms. Goldie Casso. Is there a motion for approval?
Mayor.
Moved by Mr. Porter. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Garner. Any questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Just want to announce the opening of the General Pension Board and one opening on the Education Committee. Anyone that is interested, would you please submit your resume to the clerk's office. Two other just requests for an update. Probably Mr. Vice Mayor, this falls under your area with the Northwest section. The status of the Homestead Hospital once they move to the new location. Anyone have any update on what their intentions once they move with the old hospital? Do you have an update?
Have not had discussions with the new administrator there. It's my intention to meet with him and see if we can make some headway and come to some consensus and hopefully help steer that in the right direction.
Okay. And while we're on that, where's the status of the master plan for the Northwest section?
Met with our planner and some of our planning consultants recently. They're off and running. On the Northwest Master Plan. Yes.
Bill booking or master plan.
We had some meetings today which, as side issues, condo conversions, so forth, it will play into that moratorium as well.
And finally, on the remaining 100 acres of the Parker Commons, will we have a recommendation from staff as to whether we will go with the auction or RFP?
I think what our recommendation is going to be to bid, and there's invitation to bid on that, and we're putting those documents together now.
Okay.
And we think we'll be finished the end of this week, and then review it, and next week we'll be ready to meet with you and let you see what it looks like.
Thank you, sir, and that's all I have. Thank you all so very much for coming out this evening. Have a nice evening.